Lounge. Michael Borky, there are a lot of days where this phrase would apply. It's good to be Tom Brady. This particular day might you might even put an asterisk on it. And maybe there's a little more icing on top of the cake than just the normal day when Tom Brady wakes up. You know, most of us, we aspire to retire one day. And then when we retire, we'll just kind of do whatever we want. Maybe that's work a little, and maybe it's just play golf or travel or sit around and play FIFA all day. You know, whatever it is that is inspiring to you in life, generally speaking, that's what you want to do in retirement. And you hope that you have saved well along the way, that there's a retirement check that gives you the ability to have some flexibility in retirement. Some people retire from one job and they start another job because they've just got working in their DNA. And then there's the curious case of a guy who makes hundreds of millions of dollars in his career and retires and chooses to keep working, only to find that the post-real job career will be every bit as lucrative as the real job career. That is going to be the case for Tom Brady.
You know, I get, and I am a capitalist. We don't talk many politics on here, but I think you are whatever somebody is willing to pay you. I generally think the free market is the best way for society to control itself, and on and on and on. I believe in capitalism. I like that we have a capitalist system here with some guardrails. Somebody explain to me what makes Tom Brady's presence on a Fox NFL broadcast worth $37 million per year. I cannot for the life of me figure out why Fox feels that to be necessary. Because I'm Kevin Burkhardt alongside 7-time Super Bowl winning quarterback Tom Brady. Does that really grab a single person that would not have watched otherwise? I can't, and there are a lot of things that exist in society that I can't wrap my mind around. Mm-hmm. NFTs, for example, who are plummeting in value, by the way. Maybe people are starting to get smart.
Along with crypto.
Crypto, I kind of get crypto. I generally understand
it's also plummeting in value.
Yeah, not going well for either one. This idea that we have to overpay for color analysts on sports broadcasts will never make sense to me. Because I like Tom Brady. I will defend Tom Brady from people that don't like him. I think they're just jealous of a successful, attractive guy married to a supermodel. That makes people jealous. So he gets a lot of undue hate. There is not anything that a play-by-play man or a color analyst can do that would make me want to watch a game that I would not be watching otherwise. Nothing. I don't get this.
I will say that in year 1 or 2, there was some novelty with Tony Romo because he had such a knack in the analyst chair that there were people who were flipping to watch and hear Tony Romo and the way he was analyzing a game because it was so different than the way anybody else had done it previously. If you've missed the story, here are the details. Tom Brady, by the way, has not retired from the NFL. He is going to be the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year. If he wants to be their quarterback next year, I'm sure they're going to figure out a way to do it. If he wants to be their quarterback the year after that, they'll figure out a way to work it out. But Fox Sports has made a deal to land Tom Brady as their lead NFL game analyst after he retires. So whenever his retirement starts, the following season, he will go to the booth. He has signed a 10-year, $375 million contract with Fox. And here's the perspective. I don't know that there's any perspective that makes sense on this, but to explain just how big this is, we just recently learned about Troy Aikman's new contract with ESPN to continue to be paired up with Joe Buck on Monday Night Football. $18 million a year. That's what ESPN and ABC and Disney are paying Troy Aikman. Joe Buck's making a ton of money. Tony Romo is making about $18 million a year with CBS. Tom Brady, who has never called a game in his life, will make double, more than double, what both of those guys, who are proven commodities, whether you like Troy Aikman, whether you like Tony Romo or not, they've been doing it a while. He's going to make twice as much as either of those guys make. Fox declined comment. The story was from Andrew Marchand first at the New York Post. And it says, after losing Joe Buck and Aikman to ESPN, Fox wanted to make a splash. ESPN is paying Joe Buck $15.5 million a year. They're paying Troy Aikman $18 million a year. That's a combined $33.5 million, $4 million less than Tom Brady will make all by himself when he teams up with Kevin Burkhardt.
And that's another thing I don't necessarily understand. Now, I get that Tom Brady's a bigger name than Kevin Burkhardt, but which one's working harder? You know? I mean, who's working harder between Joe Buck and Troy Aikman during the game and leading up to the game? I mean, Joe Buck's the one that's got to take us in and out of breaks, and he's got to actually call the action. Aikman's just got to be like, yeah, they ran cover 2 there, and add a couple of seconds every few minutes.
Here's the only thing that maybe could make this make sense for me. There's a line in the story that says, besides being the number one game analyst for Fox, he will also be a company ambassador who will help in sponsorships and promotional activities. So maybe that's what we're not paying enough attention to. Maybe Fox said, yeah, you're worth what Aikman and Romo are getting. But on top of that, we want you to do a bunch of golf outings. We want you to do some speaking events. We want you to be the face that wines and dines our biggest sponsors, and we think we can make far more than another $18 million based on those relationships. So maybe it was a business decision that went far beyond television.
Like an investment.
Yeah. But, I mean, even in that scenario, you're saying, okay, that means over 10 years, you got to make $180 million more in sponsorship sales than you would have otherwise just to break even. Just to break even.
I still can't fathom a 7-time Super Bowl winning quarterback getting paid more to be the color analyst for the games than when he was playing in the games. I mean,
yeah.
Oh,
I mean, how many times did we talk about Tom Brady taking the hometown discount and reworking his deal when he was with New England? Maybe he feels like he hasn't made enough money playing in the NFL, and so he needs to, make some bank after it's all said and done. We get somebody that says, Borky, you left off that $500,000. Your rounding error there, and this person says, I'd be happy with just $500,000.
I'd be happy with a lot less than that, if we're being honest. But
Do
you think he's going to be good? Because I didn't think he would have been until he did the match thing. And then I realized, okay, this guy's kind of funny. Like, there's some charisma there. He's not just a football-playing robot. He's married to a supermodel. He summers in Spain. I'm sure he's, what do they call it? Not traveled, but...
he holidays?
Yeah, he holidays in Spain. But there's some good personality there. I think he'll be better than Breeze could ever dream of, honestly.
Drew Brees was not good.
He just doesn't have the natural charisma at all.
He was not good. Preston and Fulton says, so if you're Brady, do you call it quits after this year?
I'd already have called it quits for $37 million.
Yeah, I probably would have already hung it up if I were Tom Brady. Mike in Grand Bay says $375 million. Why risk paralysis this year? Yeah, maybe so.
Good question. You gotta love it. That's all it is.
Sports Talk Mississippi. David says, I'll tune into Tony Romo because of his perspective. It's unlike others. I'll start the same way with Brady. Time will tell if I